For weeks now, we've known how Malaysian Airlines Flight MH370 began. Today came the harsh announcement of how and where it ended. The plane was traveling from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing when it vanished. Experts poring over satellite data now believe it followed a path along this southern arc, crashing into waters off Australia, where a massive search effort has already been focused. The grim news delivered by Malaysia's Prime Minister.
This is a remote location, far from any possible landing sites.
Some families found out a different way, a text message from the airline. MH370 has been lost. The announcement proved too much for some. So many questions remain. Senior correspondent Adrian Arsenault picks up the story from there.
If you thought the cruelties of the disappearance of flight MH370 couldn't get harder on those left behind, consider what it was like to receive this text message from Malaysian authorities today. Malaysia Airlines deeply regrets that we have to assume, beyond any reasonable doubt, that MH370 has been lost and that none of those on board survived. All families were then summoned to a meeting and an announcement by a solemn Prime Minister, heavy on tone, a bit light on fact, explaining he believes the airline came to a grim end based on data analysis apparently never used in an investigation.
Based on their new analysis, Inmarsat and the AAIB have concluded that MH370 flew along the southern corridor and that its last position was in the middle of the Indian Ocean, west of Perth.
But there's still no evidence, so acceptance isn't certain. Some families called Malaysian authorities murderers, accusing them of a cover-up. Clarity is still elusive. This is the satellite company Inmarsat, which has been re-examining the pings received from the plane.
If you can imagine a train whistle getting louder as it comes towards you and getting more faint as it goes away from you, we're looking at those signals and deciding where the aircraft was on a particular route and a path.
And then there's this, the laborious search for anything still floating. Daily, more seems to emerge. For the first time, some of what's been seen was spotted from planes, not satellites, reportedly orange and green objects. Australian aircraft dropping flares and GPS markers today to try to find the spots again by ship.
First object was rectangular in shape, slightly below the ocean. Second object was circular, also slightly below the ocean.
Joining the search, sophisticated military ships, even Chinese research vessels. And in the air, craft with an array of Canadian technology, including some from Newfoundland normally used to track icebergs. More broadly, the Canadian government said it offered Malaysia help and never heard back. What faces the searchers who are out there? A swirl of currents coming from the Antarctic and the equator, mixed with eddies that will push whatever debris may remain, sometimes in circles, sometimes hundreds of kilometers away. Waves these last few days have been charted at some 30 meters. That's the equivalent of a 10-story building. And because nothing is easy, there's a cyclone coming. One of the searchers said it's like looking inside a washing machine.
In fact, it's already Tuesday there, and they've just canceled the search for the day because of the storm. When it starts up again, and if and when they find a piece of debris, what are they looking for?
Well, first they have to establish it's from the plane. Once they do that, every piece of debris will tell them a bit of a story about how the plane went into the water. So is there soot? Does that indicate a fire? How intense was it? While they're doing that, they'll also be doing some heavy-duty math to backtrack and figure out where the main debris field is. That's when the hard work begins. But all of this is much easier said than done.
All right, Adrian, thanks very much.